Addict named Christopher. I'd like to thank my higher power for allowing me another opportunity to get this thing right. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the dangers of gift of gab. The dangers of gift of gab. Just being a real good talker. Borderline snake oil salesman. Because misinformation kills people. We see that a lot in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. So today I want to give you guys one of our chapters out of our basic text. It's entitled, Who's an Addict? Who's an Addict? And in the second paragraph, it says, most of us did not consider ourselves addicted before coming to the Narcotics Anonymous program. The information available to us came from misinformed people. As long as we could stop using for a while, we thought we were all right. We looked at the stopping, not the using. As our addiction progressed, we thought of stopping less and less. Only in desperation did we ask ourselves, could it be the drugs? Back in the second sentence, it says that the information available to us came from misinformed people. I remember as an addict, I'm addict named Christopher. I remember when my disease first started to rear its ugly head, and I started displaying the actions of an addict at a young age. I remember my family just telling me, because you're stealing, you're an addict. You're getting high, you're an addict. But they didn't know the underlying symptoms. They ignored the buildup and just looked at the end results or what was manifesting. And it took me to come to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous to find out what was really wrong with me. Because the disease of addiction can manifest itself in a variety of mental obsessions and compulsive actions that have nothing to do with drugs. That comes out of our second basic text of the It Works How and Why, step 1. That the disease of addiction doesn't need the drugs solely to destroy your life. It took me to come to the rooms to understand that the disease of addiction works off of behaviors such as obsession and compulsion and self-centeredness. See, nobody told me that growing up. I had to come into the rooms to find that out. Obsession, compulsion, self-centeredness. These are things that the addict wrestles with daily in active addiction. And so the whole notion of gift of gab, misinformation, kills people. You have to know the importance of your craft. It's important that you know your references. Cite your references. The Honorable El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, aka Malcolm X, used to always cite his reference. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that's a reference. Jesus, whenever Jesus would teach, he always quoted a reference. It is written. And when he says it is written, this is called a precept, as we know, as we learned in Isaiah 28, 11. Precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, line upon line. And when Jesus would say things like it is written, he is quoting another prophet. prophet of the Old Testament. That's reference. When you go to school, when you're in college, and you have to write a paper or a dissertation or an essay, it is mandatory that you cite a reference to show that you are not in this thought alone. This shows intellect and it shows scholarship. So when these people are just talking with no reference behind them, no literature behind them, it is almost non-valid. And it has the potential to kill. I give an example. Again, when I first came into treatment, almost 5 years ago now. Matter of fact, what's today? November. Oh my God, it's November 2nd. November 9. Oh man, see, I wasn't even thinking. Man, I'm celebrating 5 years clean today. November 2nd was my clean day. I didn't even, you just get so caught in life that you forget, man. See, I see what they were saying now when they weren't even looking at the clean time, because life is life and you don't even think about stuff like that. I've been clean for 5 years today. And wow, thank you, Jesus. But when I first came into treatment 5 years ago, I knew the assignment. I knew what I was coming for. And I remember being in this treatment center in 2015, and I had gotten into the best physical shape of my life. And when I left there, I went back to using because I did not focus on a drug addiction. I didn't know that I had one. But I just remember being in good physical shape. So I always told myself, if I ever get back there, I'm getting back into good physical shape. And again, our literature says that we had gained good physical health many times, only to lose it by using it again. And so I come back into treatment. Later on, I come back into treatment 2021, near in 2021. And the first thing I go for is the gym that they had. 2 weeks later a gentleman by the name of Kevin R. takes me on as a sponsee, and he gives me the NA literature, Narcotics Anonymous literature, which I hadn't put down since. And me being a bookworm, I fell in love with it instantly. And I remember being in the meetings with him daily. In the circle, we're sharing. And 3 months later, and in the whole time that I'm there, I'm serious. My sponsor, I had him, he delegated, and assigned what we call step work. Every week he assigned me step work. Read a chapter, read a step, and write down what you get. A step a week, a chapter a week, and write down what you got out of it. Every time he come there, I do it, present it to him, he gives me another one. That's called step work. Now he did that to me he did that for me, the whole program. It was a 6-month work therapy program. After 6 months you go into transitioning, which after you complete, you go into another 6 months in looking for a job. Once you find a job, and it's solidified that you're an employee now, you go into 2 months where you can now save up your money to move out. Okay? So, remember I said that. So 3 months in, step work, meeting, working a good program. A guy came in, we'll just call him Nicholas. Nicholas came in, and Nicholas had been there numerous of times. And he knew my sponsor. And they were real cool. So, me and Nicholas, we meet, we're talking, we're in treatment together. We have to. And so Nicholas, he joins a group of brothers who weren't really so serious about the program as me. Matter of fact, everyone in the program, thought I was too serious. That's how I knew I was on the right track. Because out of my class, the people that came in with me, I was the only one who came out back into the real world and made it. Everyone else failed. I had two more brothers who completed, but they were still under the safety of the banner of the treatment center. One guy completed, and he went to another center to help usher him back into society, if you will. And then another one, he completed and got a job in the treatment center. So they were still safeguarded under some umbrella that required them and monitored them to make sure that they weren't using again. Me, I was thrown right back out into the woods, right back out into the wilderness. But my program was so hard, it was so rugged that it seared its way into my spirit, into my soul. I was scared straight, if you will. And so that fire that was kindled into me in the program is still with me today. Amen. And so Nicholas is there. He's joined with these people who aren't taking the program as serious as it needs to be. And he ends up leaving. He ends up going back out using again. I'm still there. He comes back, I want to say, maybe 2.5 months later. By that time, I'm completed. I'm in transitioning. I'm looking for a job. By that time, I'm chairing meetings, meaning I'm facilitating. I'm a decent role model there. And I remember him just coming back in. And he told me, he said, "Chris, I knew you were gonna make it." But I remember this. I remember him being in a circle. And I remember him being in a defeated posture. His back, he was slumped over in the chair, just in this state of defeat, which is where he needed to be. Because out of that ashes rise the phoenix. But if you don't allow yourself to feel that, you'll come out of it as you'll come out and miss the whole lesson. And the God I serve has a way of putting you back there until you learn this lesson. And so it came his time to share. My sponsor is sitting next to me. My sponsor had 28 years clean at the time, maybe 27. And he's sharing. Nicholas, he's sharing. And after a while, after you've accumulated a few years in this program, you can look back at that stuff and laugh, which is where my sponsor was. And so, like I said, Nicholas knew my sponsor. So Nicholas is sharing from this defeated posture. And Nicholas is talking about, the females he used to sleep with, the whores he used to spend money on, the stuff he used to do, denigrating himself just to get one more, as we say in the program. One more, whatever your addiction was, your vice was, your choice was. And my sponsor is laughing at, my sponsor is laughing because in the room we find identification. My sponsor is identifying with some of the stuff that he used to do. So my sponsor is laughing. Nicholas his disease flares up. This is what I'm noticing. I'm seeing his disease flared up. And Nicholas starts sitting up. He starts becoming active, animated. Because, my sponsor is laughing, translated to him approval, validation. And so Nicholas starts to sit up, starts gestating with his hands, He starts getting real into it. All the stuff starts coming back to him, right? But what it was really doing was tricking him into believing that it was sounding good. That's all his disease was doing. And meanwhile, while he's talking and sitting up, gestating with his hands, leaning back in the chair, I'm watching his body language morph. He comes from this defeated posture into this gestating of the hands. Then he sits back, and this put the nail on the coffin for me. He crossed his legs. When he crossed his legs, as if he was sitting, like he's in a meeting. He crosses his legs, and now he's real comfortable in the stuff that he was doing. And I took note of what I seen. I watched his disease come to life as he was talking, because it started sounding good. He started getting real slick in his speech. Why is that important? Because no more than 3 days after that, he went right back out. And so the gift of gab is so dangerous. It kills people. Misinformation will kill you. He started talking so good that he talked himself right out of the woods, right back out there in the madness. And so I'm going to just end with this. Know your stuff. Know your art. Know your craft. Have your reference. Okay, don't just be talking into the wind, because misinformation will kill people. And don't let it kill you. Again, I'm an addict named Christopher. Thank you for letting me share.